I thought Bangkok was just Bangkok until I heard its real name. Chapter 1. The Name I Thought I Knew. Somewhere in the world tonight, there is probably someone looking at a map of Thailand. Perhaps they are planning a holiday. Perhaps they are scrolling through travel videos before bed. Perhaps they have never visited Southeast Asia at all. And if they happen to look at Thailand's capital city, they will most likely see a familiar word. Bangkok. Simple, short, easy to remember, easy to pronounce. A name that appears on airport screens, airline tickets, weather forecasts, guidebooks, and travel websites all around the world. Bangkok. For most foreigners, that is the beginning and end of the story. It certainly was for me. Before I came to Thailand, I believed Bangkok was simply the name of the city. Nothing more. Nothing mysterious. Nothing unusual. I had visited cities with long histories before. I had wandered through the narrow streets of old European capitals. I had stood beside ancient cathedrals and forgotten castles. I had spent countless afternoons reading about civilizations that disappeared hundreds or even thousands of years ago. History fascinated me. Names fascinated me. Stories fascinated me. Yet somehow, despite all of that curiosity, I never questioned the name Bangkok. I simply accepted it, the way millions of people do every day. And that small assumption would eventually lead me toward one of the most fascinating discoveries I would make during my time in Thailand. A discovery hidden in plain sight. A discovery that most foreigners never encounter. A discovery so surprising that when I first heard it, I genuinely thought someone was joking. But that part of the story comes later. Tonight, let us begin at the beginning, with rain. Because somehow, in my memories of Thailand, rain always seems to be present. Not dramatic storms, not dangerous weather, just gentle tropical rain, the kind that softens the edges of a city, the kind that makes lights glow warmer, the kind that turns ordinary evenings into stories. It was my third week in Thailand. I had been traveling slowly, very slowly. Unlike many tourists, I was not trying to visit 10 destinations in 10 days. I had reached an age where rushing no longer seemed impressive. Instead, I preferred to sit, to watch, to listen, to notice things. Thailand turned out to be the perfect country for that kind of travel. People often describe Thailand using obvious images: beaches, palm trees, street food, temples, tuk-tuks. And while all of those things certainly exist, I quickly discovered that daily life felt much softer than the stereotypes suggested. The Thailand I encountered was filled with small moments. A grandmother watering plants outside her shop. Students sharing snacks after school. Office workers buying iced coffee on their way home. Monks walking silently through morning mist. Taxi drivers laughing together beside roadside food stalls. Tiny moments. Ordinary moments. Yet somehow memorable, perhaps because they felt human. And that particular evening, I found myself sitting beside the river that has watched Bangkok grow for centuries. The mighty Chao Phraya River. Chao Phraya River. The river moved slowly through the city. Boats drifted across dark water. Long-tail boats left gentle trails behind them. Ferries carried passengers from one side to the other. Tourist boats floated beneath bridges decorated with golden lights. And beyond everything else rose the skyline. Glass towers, luxury hotels, apartment buildings, ancient temple spires. Modern Thailand standing beside old Thailand. Neither replacing the other, both existing together. The evening air felt warm, not hot, just warm, comfortably warm. A soft breeze carried the smell of river water mixed with food from nearby restaurants. Garlic, chili, grilled seafood, fresh herbs. The aromas drifted through the night like invisible invitations. I remember ordering a cup of hot tea, an unusual choice, perhaps, in tropical weather. But I have always liked tea at night. There is something calming about holding a warm cup while watching the world move around you. The restaurant itself was simple. Wooden tables, yellow lights, quiet music, nothing fancy. The kind of place travelers often remember more fondly than expensive restaurants. Around me, conversations rose and fell softly. Thai, English, Chinese, French, German, a dozen different languages floating through the air. Bangkok seemed to gather people from everywhere and somehow make them feel welcome. I sat there for nearly an hour, watching, listening, writing occasional notes in a small notebook I carried everywhere. Traveling had taught me something important. Memories fade. Details disappear. The notebook helped preserve them. A smile from a stranger. A funny conversation. An interesting observation. The smell of rain before it arrives. Little things. The kinds of details that later become stories. As I was writing, I noticed an elderly Thai gentleman sitting alone at a nearby table. He looked to be around 70 years old, perhaps older. His silver hair was neatly combed. He wore a light blue shirt. Nothing remarkable. Yet, there was something peaceful about him. He seemed completely comfortable doing nothing. A surprisingly rare skill in the modern world. Many people struggle with silence. They reach for phones, music, screens, distractions, but this man simply sat, watching the river, occasionally smiling at something only he could see. I remember thinking he looked content, truly content. Eventually our eyes met. I smiled politely. He smiled back. A moment later, he raised his teacup slightly. A universal gesture. I returned the gesture, and that could easily have been the end of our interaction. But Thailand has a way of turning small moments into unexpected conversations. A few minutes later, rain began falling. Softly at first, tiny drops touching the river, then a little heavier. Not enough to disturb anyone, just enough to create a pleasant rhythm against the restaurant roof. The sound reminded me of childhood evenings, reading books beside windows, listening to rain while the world outside slowed down. The elderly gentleman glanced toward the sky and smiled. "Good rain," he said in English. His accent was gentle, easy to understand. I nodded. "Very good rain." He laughed quietly. "Not too much." "Not yet," I replied. That made him laugh even more. Soon we were talking. Nothing serious. Nothing important. The weather, food, travel, the usual subjects strangers discuss when they first meet. I learned he had lived in Bangkok his entire life. 70 years in the same city. Imagine that, watching a place transform decade after decade, seeing neighborhoods appear where empty land once existed, watching trains rise above streets, watching children become parents, watching parents become grandparents. The city must have looked completely different when he was young. I asked him if he ever thought about moving somewhere quieter, perhaps to the countryside, perhaps to a beach town. He shook his head. "No, why not?" He smiled toward the river. "This city grows inside you." The answer lingered in my mind. This city grows inside you. A beautiful sentence. The kind people rarely say unless they truly love a place. For a while, we sat quietly again. The rain continued. Boats moved slowly through darkness. Lights shimmered across water. Everything felt calm. Then, almost without thinking, I said something. A completely ordinary sentence. A sentence I had probably spoken 100 times before. "Bangkok is fascinating." The old man looked at me, still smiling. Then he tilted his head slightly. "Bangkok? Yes." He chuckled. Not mocking, not rude, just amused. "That is what foreigners call it." I frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" He placed his teacup down carefully, then looked toward the river, as though deciding how to explain something. Finally, he said, "Bangkok is not really its name." I laughed, assuming he was joking. "Of course it is." He shook his head. "No, not really." I waited for the punchline. None came. Instead, he continued watching the rain, completely serious. I felt a strange spark of curiosity. "What do Thai people call it?" His smile widened. "Krung Thep." The words sounded elegant, almost musical. I repeated them, slowly. "Krung Thep." He nodded approvingly. "Very good." I wrote the words in my notebook. Krung Thep. The city suddenly felt different, not because anything around me had changed. The river remained the same. The rain remained the same. The lights remained the same. Yet names carry power. Learning a new name often feels like discovering a hidden door, a glimpse behind the surface. I asked what Krung Thep meant. His eyes brightened. Perhaps he enjoyed explaining this. Many people enjoy sharing pieces of their culture with travelers who genuinely care. It means City of Angels. I stared at him. City of Angels? Yes. I looked out toward the skyline, the temples, the towers, the river, the rain. For some reason, hearing those words transformed the view. City of Angels, not Bangkok. Krung Thep, a city carrying a completely different identity beneath the name foreigners knew. I thought that was the surprising part of the story. I thought I had already discovered something unusual. I had no idea I was only standing at the edge of the mystery, because a few minutes later, the old man would reveal something so astonishing that I would spend the rest of the evening wondering whether it could possibly be true. The rain grew softer. The restaurant became quieter. A boat drifted slowly downstream, and somewhere beyond the dark water, temple bells echoed faintly through the night. The old man leaned back in his chair. Then he asked a question, a simple question, one that would change the entire direction of the conversation. Do you know the full name? I blinked. The full name of Bangkok? He nodded. I smiled, confident, certain, completely unaware of what was coming. Bangkok. The old man laughed so hard that tea nearly spilled from his cup. And that was the moment. The exact moment. When I first realized I knew almost nothing about the city sitting before me, the rain continued falling gently over the river. The lights shimmered. The boats drifted silently through darkness. And somewhere in the warm Bangkok night, a story was about to begin. A story hidden inside a name. A name so long, so beautiful, and so unexpected that it would completely transform the way I understood Thailand. But that story belongs to tomorrow night. For now, listen to the rain, watch the river, and rest beneath the quiet lights of the city many people call Bangkok, the city that most foreigners think they know, and the city whose real name is waiting patiently to be discovered. Good night. Chapter 2. The Old Man by the River. The rain continued long after most of the tourists had left. It was the kind of rain that seemed content simply to exist. Not heavy enough to force people indoors. Not dramatic enough to become a storm. Just a steady curtain of silver drifting down from the dark sky. Across the river, the lights of Bangkok shimmered through the mist. Gold, white, amber. Reflections stretched across the water like brushstrokes on a painting. The old man sat quietly opposite me. His teacup rested between his hands. He seemed in no hurry to continue. And somehow that made me even more curious. Travel has taught me that some of the most interesting stories never arrive quickly. They reveal themselves slowly, like sunrise, or friendship, or understanding. I glanced down at my notebook. On the page, written in slightly crooked handwriting, were two words: Krung Thep, the City of Angels. Already that felt like a discovery. Yet, judging by the smile on the old man's face, I sensed something much bigger was coming. Around us, the restaurant had become quieter. A waiter stacked chairs near the entrance. A family finished their meal and stepped into the rain beneath a shared umbrella. Somewhere nearby, a radio played an old Thai song. The melody drifted softly through the evening air. The old man finally broke the silence. You really thought Bangkok was the full name? I laughed. Didn't everyone? Most foreigners. Well, yes. He nodded knowingly. Many Thai people find that funny. I grinned. I can imagine. He leaned back slightly. The interesting thing is that Bangkok isn't even what Thai people usually call the city. I looked at him. Krung Thep? Exactly. I repeated it quietly. Krung Thep. The words felt smoother now, more familiar. The old man smiled. You know, when Thai children first learn to write that name, they don't realize foreigners call it Bangkok. Really? He nodded. For us, it has always been Krung Thep. I stared out toward the river again. A simple realization settled over me. For decades, I had believed I knew the name of Thailand's capital. Yet millions of people who actually live there used a completely different name every day. It felt strangely humbling. Travel often does that. You arrive believing you understand a place. Then reality gently reminds you how little you know. The rain tapped softly against the wooden roof. The old man looked toward the skyline. You know what fascinates me? He asked. What? Foreigners travel thousands of miles to see Thailand. I nodded. Yes, they learn about temples. Yes, they learn about food. Of course, they learn a few Thai words. Sometimes, he chuckled, but very few ever learned the name of the city. That observation stayed with me, because he was right. Many travelers could list famous landmarks. They could identify dishes. They could describe beaches. Yet something as fundamental as the city's true name remained unknown. The old man took another sip of tea. Then he placed the cup down carefully. The way one might place a valuable object on a shelf, slowly, deliberately. He looked directly at me. Would you like to hear the full name? I laughed immediately. Of course. He smiled. Are you sure? Yes. His smile widened. That should have been my warning. A few seconds passed. The rain softened further. The river seemed to slow. The entire city felt quieter somehow. Then the old man straightened his back slightly and began speaking. The first few words sounded manageable. Krung Thep Maha Nakon. I nodded. Reasonable enough. Longer than Bangkok, but not outrageous. Then he continued. More words followed, and then more, and then more. Each phrase seemed longer than the last. Ancient sounds flowed together smoothly from memory. The old man never hesitated, never paused, never searched for the next word. The entire thing emerged effortlessly, like a poem he had known since childhood, or a song he had sung 1,000 times. I listened, then listened harder, trying desperately to remember the sequence, trying desperately to understand where the sentence would end. It did not end, at least not immediately. The name continued, stretching onward, a river of language flowing through the rainy night. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he stopped. Silence returned. The rain whispered against the roof. A boat engine hummed somewhere in the darkness, and I simply stared. That, I said slowly, was the name? Yes. All of it? All of it. I blinked, then laughed. Not because it was funny, because it seemed impossible. No city has a name that long. The old man grinned. This one does. I shook my head. There is no way anyone remembers that. Millions of Thai people do. I stared at him. You're serious? Very. I opened my notebook, then immediately closed it again. There was absolutely no chance I had remembered enough to write it down. The old man laughed at my expression. You look shocked. I am shocked. Good. He seemed pleased by that, as though the reaction was exactly what he expected. A waiter walked past and refilled our tea. Neither of us spoke for a moment. I kept replaying the sound of the name in my mind. Fragments lingered, pieces of words, bits of rhythm, but the entire thing felt impossible to reconstruct. Finally, I asked the obvious question. How long is it? The old man thought for a moment. Long enough that many foreigners think it is a joke. I almost did. He nodded. Most do. Outside, another ferry crossed the river. Its lights glowed softly through the rain. Passengers stood beneath the covered deck, watching the city pass by. For a moment, I wondered how many of them knew the story of the city's name. How many foreigners crossed these waters every day without realizing what was hidden behind the word Bangkok. The old man folded his hands. Then he began explaining. Not the meaning yet, just the history. The name comes from old languages. Thai? Partly. What else? Pali, Sanskrit. I recognized those names. Ancient languages connected to religion, literature, and history across much of Asia. Suddenly, the mystery deepened. This was not simply a long name. It was a historical artifact, a living piece of the past, still spoken today, still remembered, still carried by one of the world's busiest cities. The idea fascinated me because cities often change faster than people realize. Buildings rise, buildings fall, roads appear, neighborhoods transform. Technology reshapes daily life. Yet somehow a centuries-old name survives, a thread connecting generations. The old man seemed to sense my thoughts. Bangkok changes every year, he said, but some things stay. His eyes drifted toward the river. The river stays. The temples stay. The stories stay. His voice softened, and the name stays. For a while, we sat quietly again. The The city moved around us. Cars crossed distant bridges. Boats drifted downstream. People hurried home through narrow streets. Bangkok never truly sleeps. It simply changes pace. At that hour, the city felt gentler, more reflective, less concerned with schedules, more willing to reveal itself. The old man pointed toward the dark water. When I was a child, this river looked different. I followed his gaze. There were fewer buildings, fewer bridges, fewer people. He smiled, but the river still felt important. I nodded. Even as a visitor, I could sense that. The Chao Phraya was more than a river. It was the spine of the city. The reason Bangkok existed where it did, the witness to centuries of history. Kings, merchants, monks, travelers, families, generations flowing past like water. The old man leaned forward slightly. Do you know why the long name matters? I shook my head. Because it tells a story. His words settled gently into the night. A story, not a label, not a title. A story. Perhaps that was why it survived. Human beings remember stories better than facts. Stories carry emotion, meaning, identity. Stories become part of who we are. The old man smiled. You'll understand tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yes. I laughed. That sounds mysterious. It is. He seemed completely serious. Then he looked at his watch. A simple, old-fashioned watch with a worn leather strap, the kind that had likely accompanied him through decades of life. I should go. I glanced outside. The rain had almost stopped. Tiny droplets still fell occasionally. But the storm was ending. The river reflected the city more clearly now. The old man stood carefully. Not slowly, not weakly, just deliberately. A man comfortable with his own pace. He picked up a small umbrella, the kind many people carried in Bangkok. Then he smiled. Same time tomorrow? I hesitated, then smiled back. Absolutely. Good. He nodded. Tomorrow we talk about the name. The whole name? The whole story. For some reason, that sentence made me feel like a child waiting for the next chapter of a favorite book. The old man stepped toward the entrance, then paused. One final thought seemed to occur to him. He turned and said, most foreigners come to Thailand looking for something extraordinary. I waited, but sometimes the extraordinary thing is already written on the map. Then he walked into the night. His umbrella opened. The soft rain welcomed him back into the city, and within moments he disappeared among the lights reflected on the river. I remained seated. The tea had grown cold. The restaurant was nearly empty, yet I felt strangely awake, curious, excited, because somewhere hidden inside a name was a story stretching back through centuries. A story most visitors never hear. A story waiting patiently beneath the surface of modern Bangkok. Or perhaps I should say, Krung Thep, the city of angels. The city whose true name was still waiting to reveal itself. And as I finally left the restaurant and began walking through the warm Bangkok night, one thought followed me all the way back to my hotel. How could a city have a name so long? And what could possibly be important enough to fill it? The answer would arrive with tomorrow's rain. Chapter 3. A Name That Never Ends. The following evening arrived wrapped in clouds. Not dark storm clouds. Not threatening clouds. Just the soft gray blanket that often settles over Bangkok during the rainy season. The city seemed quieter beneath them. The sunlight arrived gently, filtered, diffused, turning glass buildings silver and temple roofs pale gold. I spent most of that day wandering without a destination. One of my favorite ways to travel. No itinerary, no checklist, no urgency, just walking, listening, watching, allowing the city to reveal itself at its own pace. Bangkok rewarded that kind of curiosity. Every street seemed to contain another story. A tiny shrine tucked between modern office towers. An old woman selling jasmine garlands beneath an elevated train line. A hidden alley where cats slept peacefully beside parked motorcycles. The city constantly surprised me. Not through grand spectacles, but through details. Tiny details. The sort that disappear if you move too quickly. By late afternoon, light rain began falling once again. I smiled when I noticed it. The weather had become part of the story now, as if Bangkok itself were helping set the mood. The river looked different from the previous evening. The water sat slightly higher, the current moved a little faster. Longtail boats carved narrow paths through the surface. Their engines echoed softly between buildings. And there, exactly where I expected him to be, sat the old man. The same blue shirt, the same calm posture, the same cup of tea, watching the river, waiting. When he noticed me approaching, he smiled. "You came back." "Of course." I wasn't sure. I laughed. "After what you told me yesterday?" He nodded. "Good." I sat down. The waiter appeared almost immediately, apparently remembering me from the night before. Soon, a fresh cup of tea sat before me. Steam drifted upward, blending with the damp evening air. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The river provided enough conversation on its own. Boats drifted by. Rain tapped softly against awnings. Temple bells echoed faintly in the distance. Finally, I broke the silence. "All day I've been thinking about that name." The old man smiled. "Most people do. It doesn't seem possible." "It is possible." "I still think you're exaggerating." His laughter arrived immediately. Warm, friendly, genuine. "No, you'll see." I leaned forward. "Then tell me." The old man took a sip of tea, then carefully placed the cup back onto the table. "You want to hear it again?" "Yes." "Slowly? Please." He nodded. For a moment, his eyes moved toward the river, perhaps gathering memories, perhaps recalling lessons from childhood, perhaps simply enjoying the anticipation. Then he began, very slowly this time, carefully, allowing each word room to breathe. "Krung Thep Maha Nakol." I repeated it softly, trying to memorize the sounds. The old man continued, word after word, phrase after phrase. The name unfolded like an ancient scroll. Long, elegant, layered. Each section seemed connected to the next. Not random, not accidental, purposeful, beautiful, mysterious. When he finally finished, I sat perfectly still. The river continued moving. The rain continued falling. Yet my attention remained entirely fixed on the words. "That's incredible." The old man nodded. "Most foreigners say that. I've never heard anything like it. Very few people have." I laughed softly. "How did anyone create something so long?" The old man smiled. "Because it was never meant to be short." That answer only deepened the mystery. I opened my notebook, this time determined to record at least part of what I had heard. The old man patiently helped me write several sections. My handwriting quickly became messy. The words felt unfamiliar, ancient, almost musical. As I struggled to spell them correctly, the old man watched with amusement. "This is difficult. For you, not for Thai people?" He smiled. "Thai people struggle too." That made me feel better. For a while, we focused on pronunciation. I repeated phrases. The old man corrected them, sometimes gently, sometimes with laughter. Apparently, I had a remarkable talent for saying things incorrectly, a talent I have demonstrated in many countries throughout my life. The old man seemed to enjoy the process immensely. At one point, he laughed so hard that nearby diners glanced toward us. I suspect I had accidentally transformed an ancient royal phrase into something completely ridiculous. Language often humbles travelers, and perhaps that is a good thing. Humility opens doors. Pride rarely does. Eventually, I managed to pronounce several portions reasonably well. Not perfectly, but well enough. The old man nodded approvingly. "You are improving. I'll take that as a compliment." "It is." Rain drifted across the river once more. A ferry approached the pier nearby. Passengers gathered their bags. Others checked phones. Some simply stared out at the water, watching Bangkok pass by. The old man followed my gaze. "Do you know something interesting?" "What?" "Many people in Bangkok have never thought deeply about the name." That surprised me. "Really?" He nodded. "They know it. They hear it. But they don't always think about it." I consider that perhaps it was natural. People rarely examine things that surround them every day. A person living beside a mountain may stop noticing it. A person living beside the sea may forget its beauty. Familiarity creates invisibility. The old man smiled. "Foreigners sometimes notice things locals forget." "Like the name?" "Exactly." I looked down at my notebook again. The collection of strange words seemed almost unreal. How could one city contain such a title? How many generations had carried it forward? How many children had memorized it? How many travelers had heard it for the first time and reacted exactly as I had? The thought made me smile. Perhaps I was participating in a tradition older than I realized. A traveler arrives, learns the truth, feels astonishment, passes the story onward. The old man seemed to sense where my thoughts had gone. You're imagining the past. A little. He nodded. The name carries a lot of past with it. The rain softened. For a brief moment, the clouds parted. A faint glow appeared behind the skyline. Sunset. The city shifted into gold. Temple roofs reflected amber light. Windows sparkled. The river transformed into liquid bronze. Everything looked dreamlike. The old man pointed toward the horizon. Beautiful. It really is. Bangkok possessed an unusual quality. The city could appear chaotic at first glance. Busy roads, crowded sidewalks, countless buildings. Yet hidden inside that energy were moments of profound calm. Moments exactly like this one. Watching sunset over the river, listening to rain, sharing stories with a stranger. Travel magazines rarely talk about those moments, perhaps because they are impossible to photograph. Yet they often become the memories people treasure most. The old man folded his hands together. Then he asked, "What do you think the name means?" I laughed. I have absolutely no idea. Try. I considered the question. The city of angels? Partly. Something royal? Partly. Something religious? Partly. His smile widened. You see the problem. What problem? The name is many things at once. I looked at the notebook again. For the first time, I realized something. This was not simply a long name. It was several ideas combined together. History, religion, mythology, royal symbolism, cultural identity, perhaps even dreams, all woven into a single title. The old man nodded when I shared the thought. Exactly. His eyes brightened. Now you're beginning to understand. The river breeze carried the scent of wet earth. Somewhere nearby, food vendors were preparing dinner. Garlic, charcoal, fresh herbs. The aromas drifted through the evening air, a reminder that life continued around us, yet the conversation had created its own little world, a quiet corner suspended between past and present. The old man glanced at his watch, then smiled. Tomorrow. I laughed. You always stop at the interesting part. That is how stories work. I suppose. He stood slowly. Rain droplets sparkled on the edge of his umbrella. Tomorrow, he explained, we would begin exploring the meaning hidden inside the name, word by word, piece by piece, story by story. I watched him prepare to leave. Then one final question occurred to me. How many Thai children know the whole thing? The old man chuckled. Enough. Enough? Enough to impress foreigners. I laughed. Fair point. He opened his umbrella, then paused, one hand resting lightly on the handle. There is something important you should remember. What? The old man looked toward the river, toward the temples, toward the modern skyline rising behind them. Then he spoke softly. When people hear the name, they think it is long because someone wanted to show off. I nodded. That had certainly crossed my mind. But that isn't true. No, he shook his head. It is long because every part means something. Then he smiled. A patient smile. The kind teachers wear when they know a student has only just begun learning. Tomorrow, he said, you'll discover why. And with that, he disappeared once again into the rainy Bangkok evening, leaving me alone beside the river, alone with a notebook, alone with a mystery, and alone with the growing realization that the world's longest city name might also be one of its most beautiful. The rain continued falling softly. The boats continued drifting downstream. The city of angels glowed beneath the clouds. And somewhere hidden inside its ancient name, centuries of stories were waiting to be told. Chapter 4. The City of Angels. The next morning, I woke before sunrise. For a few moments, I forgot where I was. The room was quiet. The curtains moved gently in the breeze from the air conditioner. A faint gray light filtered through the window. Then I heard it. a distant sound drifting through the city. Birds, motorcycles, and somewhere very far away, temple bells. Bangkok, or perhaps, as I was slowly learning to call it, Krung Thep, the city of angels. The phrase lingered in my mind. It has stayed there all night. City of Angels. Such a beautiful name. Such a different image from the Bangkok many foreigners imagine. When most people think about Bangkok, they picture traffic, skyscrapers, night markets, street food, crowded sidewalks, bright lights, energy, movement, noise. But the City of Angels suggested something entirely different. Something older, something softer, something hidden beneath the modern city. I spent the morning walking through parts of Bangkok I had not yet explored. Small streets, quiet neighborhoods, places where daily life unfolded at an unhurried pace. An elderly woman swept leaves from the front of her house. A monk received offerings from local residents. Children in school uniforms walked together beneath colorful umbrellas. The city felt peaceful, gentle, human. The farther I wandered from the large roads, the more I noticed something. People smiled, not constantly, not in the exaggerated way foreigners sometimes imagine, but often. A small smile, a polite smile, a welcoming smile, a smile of acknowledgement, a smile that simply said, "I see you." For years, I had heard people describe Thailand as the land of smiles. Before visiting, I assumed it was a tourism slogan, a marketing phrase, a stereotype. But now I was beginning to understand. The smiles were real, not because people were always happy. No country works that way. No human being works that way. The smiles existed because kindness occupied a visible place in daily life. At least that was what I was beginning to feel. And somehow that idea seemed connected to the city's name, a city of angels. Not because angels literally lived there, but because kindness mattered, because gentleness mattered, because human connection mattered. By afternoon, clouds once again gathered above the skyline. The rainy season never seemed far away, and as evening approached, I found myself returning to the riverside restaurant. The place was becoming familiar now. The staff greeted me with smiles. The waiter already knew my preferred tea. Even the river seemed familiar. Its rhythms, its colors, its sounds. And there, exactly as expected, sat the old man, watching the water, waiting. When he saw me approaching, he smiled. "You are becoming predictable." I laughed. "So are you." "Good." He gestured toward the empty chair. "Sit." The rain began almost immediately after I arrived. Soft rain, gentle rain, the kind that seemed determined to become part of every chapter of this story. For several minutes, we simply watched the river. Neither of us felt the need to hurry. Eventually, I asked the question that had occupied my thoughts all day. "Why City of Angels?" The old man smiled. "I was wondering how long it would take you to ask." "Not very long." He nodded. I imagined. A ferry drifted slowly across the river. Its lights reflected on the dark water. The sky had turned deep blue, almost purple. The first stars hid behind clouds. The city glowed beneath them. The old man folded his hands, then began speaking. Many foreigners hear the phrase and immediately think of Los Angeles. I laughed. I did. Most do. He smiled. But Krung Thep is older, much older, as it turned out. The phrase came from ancient traditions, ancient beliefs, ancient ways of understanding the world. For centuries, kingdoms across Asia had used names filled with symbolism, names that reflected hopes, blessings, spiritual ideals, names that described not only what a city was, but what it aspired to become. The old man pointed toward the skyline. Think about modern city names. I considered it. Most city names felt practical, historical perhaps, but practical. London, Paris, Berlin, Sydney, Chicago. Names, labels, places. The old man nodded. Now imagine creating a capital city hundreds of years ago. I waited. You don't just choose a name. No. His eyes drifted toward the river. You create a vision. The sentence lingered between us. A vision, not a label, not an address. A vision. Suddenly, the entire concept felt different. The people who created the name were not simply identifying a location. They were expressing values, dreams, beliefs. The old man continued. The word Krung means capital city. I nodded. And Thep means angel? Close. He smiled. Divine being, celestial being, heavenly being. I repeated the words quietly. The old man seemed pleased. Angels is the easiest translation, but not exact. Nothing important is ever translated perfectly. That answer felt wise, perhaps because it was true. Every language carries ideas that resist translation, ideas shaped by culture, history, experience, words that contain entire worlds inside them. The old man pointed toward a nearby temple spire. Its golden surface glowed beneath the evening lights. In old traditions, cities were connected to heaven. I followed his gaze. The spire seemed to reach toward the clouds, elegant, timeless, almost floating above the modern city around it. The capital was not only a place where people lived. The old man spoke softly now. It represented harmony between earth and heaven. The rain intensified briefly, then softened again. The river absorbed every drop without complaint. I found myself imagining Bangkok centuries ago, before skyscrapers, before highways, before electric lights, a city of canals, wooden houses, temples, royal palaces, boats moving silently through waterways. The city of angels. The phrase suddenly felt less strange, more natural, more understandable. The old man smiled. You are imagining old Bangkok. Is it obvious? Very. I laughed. He had become surprisingly good at reading my thoughts. Perhaps age brings that skill, or perhaps curiosity makes people predictable. The old man leaned back. Many foreigners arrive expecting Thailand to be exotic. I nodded. That certainly described countless travel advertisements. They look for things that seem unusual. Yes, but often they miss the things that matter most. Such as, he gestured toward the river, the stories, the boats, the people, the meanings. His voice softened, and the names. For several minutes, we sat quietly again. The city moved around us. A family laughed at a nearby table. A boat horn echoed across the water. The smell of grilled seafood drifted through the air. Simple moments, beautiful moments, the sort that never appear on postcards, yet somehow define a place more accurately than famous landmarks ever could. The old man suddenly asked, "What do you think angels mean?" The question surprised me. I considered it carefully. Guidance, kindness, protection, hope. The old man nodded after each answer, then smiled. Interesting. Why? Because those ideas exist here too. He pointed toward the city, not a specific building, not a specific place, the city itself. Sometimes foreigners think culture lives inside museums. I nodded. I had certainly been guilty of that assumption. But culture lives in people. The sentence settled gently into the evening. Culture lives in people, not displays, not monuments, not artifacts. People. The woman selling fruit, the taxi driver, the teacher, the monk, the shopkeeper, the student, the grandmother watering plants. Culture lives inside daily life, inside habits, inside values, inside small acts repeated millions of times. The old man smiled. And that is why names matter. I understood, or at least I was beginning to. A city's name reveals what its people considered important, what they hoped for, what they believed, what they wished to preserve. The rain finally stopped. For the first time all evening, the river reflected the city perfectly. Lights shimmered across the water like scattered stars. The old man looked pleased, as beautiful as ever. It really is. He nodded. Tomorrow we continue. I laughed. Of course we would. Every answer seemed to create 3 new questions. Every chapter opened another door. What comes next? The old man stood slowly. His umbrella remained closed. The rain had ended. Tomorrow, he explained, we would explore something even older. The hidden languages buried inside the name. Ancient words. Ancient meanings. Ancient stories carried across centuries. Before leaving, he paused. then looked back toward me. You know what is funny? What? Most tourists spend their entire trip looking at Bangkok. I nodded, and never realized Bangkok is looking back. I laughed softly. What does that mean? The old man smiled. You'll understand someday. Then he turned and disappeared into the evening crowd, leaving me once again beside the river, watching the city of angels glow beneath the night sky, listening to the water, feeling the warm breeze, and slowly realizing that the longest city name in the world was not long because it was complicated. It was long because it carried centuries of dreams, dreams that still lived inside the city today. And tomorrow, those dreams would begin speaking through ancient languages, languages hidden inside the name itself, languages that had traveled through time to reach the modern world, languages waiting patiently for their story to be told. Chapter 5. Hidden Sanskrit, Hidden Stories. The following day began with sunlight. For the first time in several days, the sky above Bangkok was almost completely clear. The clouds had retreated. The river reflected a brilliant blue, and the city seemed to sparkle beneath the morning light. From my hotel window, I could see rooftops stretching toward the horizon. Temple spires rose between office buildings. Construction cranes stood beside centuries-old structures. Bangkok often felt like several different centuries existing at the same time. The past never completely disappeared. The future never completely arrived. Everything existed together, layer upon layer, story upon story. And somewhere within those layers was the mystery I had become obsessed with. The name, the impossibly long name. The name that had somehow transformed from a curiosity into a doorway. Every day I understood a little more. Yet every day I discovered how much remained hidden. That morning, I visited a small bookstore near the old part of the city. It was tucked away on a quiet street where bicycles leaned against walls and potted plants crowded narrow walkways. The shop smelled exactly as a bookstore should. Paper, wood, dust, time. Inside, ceiling fans turned lazily overhead. Shelves stretched from floor to ceiling. Books occupied every available surface. Some looked new. Others appeared old enough to remember another century. I wandered through the aisles without purpose. Eventually, I found a section dedicated to Thai history. Kings, temples, trade routes, ancient kingdoms, language, religion. The deeper I explored, the more frequently two words appeared. Pali, Sanskrit. I recognized them immediately. The old man had mentioned them the night before. Ancient languages, ancient roots, ancient influences hidden inside the modern world. I purchased a small book, not because I expected to become an expert, but because curiosity had become impossible to resist. The cashier smiled when she noticed my selection. Studying Thai history? A little. She nodded approvingly. Good history. Then she laughed softly, as though she had personally known all of Thai history and could confidently recommend it. I liked that. Outside, the city continued moving around me. Street vendors prepared lunch. Students crossed roads in groups. Motorcycles buzzed past. The ordinary rhythm of daily life continued uninterrupted. Yet my thoughts remained focused on the same question. How could a city's name contain so much history? That evening, as expected, I returned to the river. The sky glowed orange behind the skyline. Clouds reflected shades of gold and pink. The Chao Phraya moved steadily beneath them. And there sat the old man, already waiting, already smiling. You look like someone who has been reading. I laughed. Is it that obvious? Very. I sat down. The familiar tea arrived moments later. The waiter no longer needed to ask. A comfortable routine had emerged. And somehow it felt appropriate. Stories deserve rituals. The old man glanced at the book in my hand. Ah, you know this one? He nodded. A good introduction. To Pali and Sanskrit, to curiosity. I smiled. That seemed like exactly the sort of answer he would give. For a few moments we watched the river. Then I asked, why are these languages important? The old man looked pleased, as though I had finally reached the question he had been waiting for. He folded his hands, then began. Imagine a river. I glanced toward the Chao Phraya. Okay, The river flows through many places. Yes, it carries things with it. I nodded. The image felt simple enough. The old man continued. Languages do the same. The idea settled gently into my mind. Languages as rivers, flowing through history, carrying words, ideas, beliefs, stories, traveling across borders, across generations, across centuries. The old man pointed toward the city. Thailand did not appear from nowhere. Of course not. It learned from many civilizations, many cultures, many traditions. I nodded. Every nation does. History is rarely isolated. People trade, travel, learn, borrow, adapt. Cultures influence one another continuously. The old man smiled. And Pali and Sanskrit carried many ideas into this region. I opened my notebook immediately. He laughed. Now you look like a student. Maybe I am. Good. The evening breeze drifted across the water. Somewhere nearby, a temple bell rang, a slow, peaceful sound. The old man continued. Sanskrit was the language of many ancient texts, religion, literature, philosophy, royal traditions. I wrote carefully. The notebook was beginning to fill, not with facts alone, but with impressions, images, thoughts, moments. The old man pointed toward the skyline again. Many words in Thailand have roots in Sanskrit. Really? Many. I considered that. Suddenly, the city felt deeper, like an archaeological site hidden beneath daily life. Ancient influences surviving inside modern conversations. Ancient sounds continuing to shape modern identity. The old man smiled. You know something interesting? What? Most people use these words every day and don't realize where they came from? Exactly. I laughed. That seemed to happen everywhere. People inherit language the way they inherit rivers, without always knowing where it began. The old man leaned back slightly. The long name of Krung Thep contains many of these ancient roots. So every part means something? Yes. His answer came immediately, without hesitation. Every part means something. I remembered his words from the previous evening. The name was not long because someone wanted it to be impressive. It was long because every section carried meaning. Every phrase carried history. Every word contributed something. The realization made the name feel less intimidating, less like a puzzle, more like a story told through language. The old man seemed pleased by my expression. You understand. A little is enough. The sun disappeared completely. Night arrived softly. Lights appeared one by one across the city. Buildings illuminated themselves. Bridges glowed. Riverboats transformed into floating lanterns. Bangkok possessed a remarkable relationship with light, especially after dark. The city never seemed aggressive, never overwhelming, simply alive. The old man watched a ferry pass, then spoke quietly. Have you ever thought about how names survive? The question surprised me. I considered it carefully. Not really. He nodded. Most people don't. The river flowed steadily beside us, unhurried, patient, ancient. The old man pointed toward it. This river survives because people keep using it. I nodded. Stories survive because people keep telling them. Yes, and names survive because people keep speaking them. The sentence lingered, beautiful in its simplicity. Names survive because people keep speaking them for centuries, generation after generation, parent to child, teacher to student, friend to friend. The name continued traveling through time, carried by voices, protected by memory. The old man smiled. Language is one of humanity's greatest inventions. I agreed immediately, because sitting there beside the river, I could feel it. Words were invisible bridges connecting people across centuries, across cultures, across lives. The same ancient sounds spoken by people who would never meet, yet somehow connected. The old man glanced toward my notebook. What have you learned so far? I laughed. That Bangkok isn't really Bangkok. He nodded. Good. That Krung Thep means city of angels. Good. That the long name contains ancient languages. Good. I paused, then smiled. And that every answer creates more questions. The old man laughed loudly. Excellent. For a while, we sat quietly. The city hummed around us. The river carried reflections downstream. A breeze rustled nearby trees. Everything felt peaceful, comfortable, familiar. The old man finally stood. The ritual had become predictable now. Stories revealed themselves one evening at a time. Never rushed, never forced. Before leaving, he placed one hand on the table, then looked directly at me. Tomorrow we talk about kings. I blinked. Kings? He nodded. And promises. And temples. The mystery deepened immediately. That sounds important. It is. He smiled. Very important. I watched him walk away through the evening crowd. Not quickly. Not slowly. Simply at his own pace. A man who seemed perfectly synchronized with time itself. When he disappeared from view, I remained beside the river, listening to the water, watching the lights, thinking about the journey of words, the journey of stories, the journey of names. Ancient languages flowing through centuries like rivers, still alive, still remembered, still shaping the modern world. And somewhere inside the longest city name on earth, those ancient rivers continued flowing, carrying history forward, one generation at a time, one story at a time, one word at a time. Tomorrow, those words would lead toward kings, toward temples, toward one of the most treasured symbols in Thailand. And slowly, piece by piece, the impossible name would begin revealing its heart. Thailand still holds countless stories waiting to be discovered. If you would like to continue this journey together, I hope to see you again in the next story from Thailand Through Eyes. And if there is somewhere in Thailand you wish to visit through story, leave your suggestion below. Perhaps our next journey will begin there.